is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to La Madeleine's Country French Cafe at 3072 Mockingbird Lane, Dallas, Texas, 75205. Give the restaurant a call at 214-696-0800 and tell them you want your reservations to the next activist meeting.
Station after the meeting, so how's that? Because listening to the meeting, we're starting a little bit late, and there's always time to talk afterwards, and there's a lot to cover. So,
okay, guys, Regina's trying to talk here. Let's give her your attention.
thank you, Joanne. Thank you. All right, that's too cool. Well, it's nice to have you all here. We get to see some new faces here, which is really nice. And what we always start our meetings out with is talking about what we've done the last week and what we have coming up the next week. Because this is about activism, you know? There's a lot of issues out there, and if someone has something that I haven't heard about, let me know. Because we either promote, we actually host an event, or we use an event as an outreach. As I discussed, and I complimented you two, about a week or so ago, and I'm bad with names and dates, so it's rough, so don't hold me to it. But about a week or so ago, these lovely people here who are major activists who put a lot of big events together, had the Ted Cruz event up in Cottonwood Church. And at that event, I handed out 300 flyers outside the door. And that was an outreach event. Although I bought 3 tickets, and we had people on the inside also to be at the event. And the Moriartys were there, and they actually got to Rafael Cruz, which is the father of Ted Cruz, was so impressed with their story, which you'll get to hear about some of the people that are new here, that he stopped Ted Cruz as he was leaving and told him, you know, you got to meet this guy, and they're going to make an appointment to hear his story. So it was, thank you for putting that event on. It helped us in so many ways. And Joanne was one of the people, yes.
Tell us who they are, because I don't know who they are.
Okay, Chuck and Cindy, and I'm really bad with last names. His last name begins with an M, and she's Meyer, so that they're married, right? Is that true? Okay. And they started a tea party, and Alan, you tell them, what's your history, like you explained to Brian?
We were co-founders of Allen Tea Party, 5 years ago, whatever. And we stayed there for a few years, and then the McKinney Tea Party was up and running and successful, but the leader moved out of town. And so they stopped meeting for 6 months, and we decided, well, rather than let that tea party just die, we started that one up, and we have it going pretty good now.
It goes real good. They meet in this wonderful venue, and they meet every other Tuesday.
Correct.
Every other Tuesday? Yes, okay. So, and it's called?
The McKinney Tea Party.
The McKinney Tea Party. Okay, so if you ever want to look it up, and as events come up that somehow we can either, like I say, promote, because they've done wonderful ones. I remember when they came up with an idea, when all the freshmen state representatives, there were like 19 if I'm not mistaken, that seemed to be real conservative. They made a venue so people could get to meet them before they got started, to let them know, put the feet to the fire. And the venue that they have holds comfortably 300 people, and they fill it up a lot of times. So it's always a good outreach, because we hand our cards out, and they want us to. When I explained that I had to be outside the door, it wasn't them. It wasn't them, and they are always supportive of what I've always done, and she even said that in a Facebook post, because, truly, the whole idea here is we're just trying to get the truth out. And when I've explained before, Activists for Truth, which was started June 1st or so, it's an umbrella group to help, expose different things. It can be political, it can be health-related, just so many, and help promote other venues, that are trying to get it out, like the different radio stations, and like locally we have Aladas, and he's on from 3 to 4 in the afternoon on 1480 AM radio. Well, it helps to promote what he's doing, and so we do this all the time. So if you guys do know of something that we could fit into one of those categories, be sure to let us know. All right, so in that vein, this is where we talk about what we did last week. And we went to, let's start with the most recent one. I guess on Saturday, there's a group that's called College of Complexes. They meet every Saturday, and they meet at Barbeck's Restaurant, which is an old greasy spoon that is on, it's on Garland Road over near the Spillway, between the Spillway and Buckner Boulevard. And they had a good crowd, at least 30, 35 people, and Jimmy and Joanne were the speakers. But their whole deal is they'll let anybody come and speak. They give you an hour to speak, and then there's rebuttal afterwards. The only requirement is it has to be controversial because they like a discussion and stuff like that. And that only one idiot speaks at a time? They joke, isn't it great? Only one fool speaks at a time. So and no one can attack the speaker. You can attack the subject because a lot of the people there are very pro-Obama, Hillary, and all this. Believe it or not, there really are people that still, cannot see, how bad the situation is. And but they'll converse. We talk afterwards, and it's really very good. I think that's what we have to cross over, and that's another thing that Activists for Truth does. We are not partisan because I think there's bad in both parties, and it's just about truth, and we have all kinds of people with different opinions, but where we can find the things that we're like on, we need to pull together because it's that idea that's going to make this work. And I love to point out a little 6-minute video called The Tiny Dot, and it's that theory of we already outnumber the bad guys, even the really, really bad guys with all the money and all the guns. But we need to unite together, and we need to have that bridge between other people that don't agree with what we're talking about. So that was one of the things we did, and of course there I got up and talked about our group, invited people to be here, and was telling them some of the projects that we're working on. And also I supported, of course, Jimmy and Joanne because they have a video. We can segue into that maybe. Jimmy and Joanne, for the people that don't know, are whistleblowers about what was going on in Libya. They were there 17 times, yes. That's another thing really big. If you want to talk topics, I'm really supportive of whistleblowers because they stick their neck out, and it's just kind of like, I've been in this stuff a really long time. And we always used to have a lot of sayings like, the cream comes to the top, and the whole concept was if you support the good guy, then more good guys are going to want to come out. Well, then these good guys would come out, and then if they didn't win or they looked like they weren't going to win, people picked the lesser of two evils, and it never stayed strong enough. But the concept is true if people would do it, So as far as whistleblowers, yeah, there you go. The deal of it is they were there and they were in Libya when Gaddafi was alive, okay? And then they saw the before and after and the during because they were looking out the window when the NATO ships were coming in, and the planes were coming in, and people were dying, and they videotaped this, and they have interviews with a lot of the family people and survivors and stuff like that. And through this endeavor, they have become real close to the Libyan people, and they are the official spokesmen for the tribes in Libya. Because Libya, which they can give you the whole history, and if you got their DVD, they do a lot, it's $10, by the way. It's 3 hours, and it talks about how several of their papers were read into Congress, and Dennis Kucinich and Ron Paul lobbied on the Congress floor when the vote was going to be to go to war with Libya, and they were going to put sanctions on Tripoli and all this kind of stuff. Their pictures of what was going on swayed the vote, and it didn't happen at that time. Of course, they still came in and did a lot of stuff, but it wasn't the official act of war, and it stopped all that. So they're going to tell us, let me finish reading this, and then we'll have them come up, because there's so much new news about what's going on. Actually, I have a copy of one of the most recent articles, because if any of you all know who Dr. Jerome Corsi is, he's a noted author, professor, and all that. He's written 23 articles from their 25 articles now, 25 articles with their information, and they always used to say, you don't need to put our name in it or anything like that, but recently I've been saying, have them mention your name, So on this most recent one, that's why I copied it, at the bottom it said, Joanne helped Skype in the sheik, who's one of the tribal leaders, and did this interview. And could have been more than that, but whatever. He put their name in there at least, and And there's been an eyewitness that's been on, he'll tell you that, but there's been an eyewitness that they connected who was a guy who lived across the street from Benghazi. He was there the day, he's told the details, he's been on 2 radio shows now. It is, the 2 radio shows that had him on, the guys that owned or produced those stations said it's the most important interviews they've ever had. And it really is. It's earth-breaking because you know Obama wanted to say it was a DVD that started the whole thing. And they have eyewitness proof and all this stuff, and they have connections and all this stuff. So again, they'll catch up with that. So they were there to speak. We did that on Saturday. And then on Saturday also, we support Open Carry. And Open Carry is the 3rd Saturday of the month. And people come, men, women, and children. They come and they meet at Dealey Plaza at 10 o'clock. And it's the process to show that guns aren't scary, you know, bad guys are. And we have 2 people that were there. Brad, who has been there every time, and Carter, who's a new member of Activists for Truth, and he's here from out of state. He came and joined in. So the both of you guys can mention how did it go, what happened, were people scared, or what happened? Go ahead.
Well, I've been, I guess, 6 months, and I love, you know, the Tea Party meetings, but I'm more of a, hey, I'm getting past that, where it's kind of, I've kind of drawn a line in the sand, and so I'm a Second Amendment guy, so this is a way that I can show my activism. I'm ready to get out there in the street and confront the evil, whoever that is, and I'm ready to go to jail if it comes to that. And the first meeting that we had, when we got down there, actually we had about 30 the first time. And when the police got there, I ran over to introduce myself thinking, hey, at least tell them kind of a little bit where we're coming from. We're not ready to shoot anybody. Well, the detective that was assigned to the event, as she got out of the car, I knew her. I knew her from where I worked. So it just put everything at an even keel. And so I called her every week or every month to let her know that, hey, we're not asking for permission. We're just exercising our right. So I think that we've been able to change the police culture here where they know this is a constitutional right to do that. We also, with our group, we have, it's called don'tcomply.com. And so a lot of these ordinances that they have that are a violation, and one of our events, we went down to feed the homeless with our AR-15. And when the police got down there, they said, well, we got a call saying that, you know, there's somebody walking around here feeding people with AR-15s. We wanted to make sure it was y'all. So we're building a branding now with the local police department, which we need them on our side. And they're one of us, but they just don't know it. And this isn't between us and police, this is between us and anybody outside the state of Texas that wants to dictate to Texans how we're going to live our life or run our life, especially when it comes to guns, because we've got that in right. So I want to encourage you, you know, like she was saying, mom and dad and kids, don't wear your camo and your flak jackets. That's not the presentation that we want to give. Just look like an average person. We go from there to Chipotle, the restaurant, walk right in. I've had people walk up in line, shake hands with me and say, hey, I want to thank you for what you guys are doing. So it's total opposite of what we think from the media is going to happen to us. And now it's even being, we were able to change the viewpoint of the police too, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, the phones are going to ring off the hook. They've gotten one phone call. So it's helping them to say, hey, maybe where's this fear coming from? It's the media.
Now, is the news cover any of this?
I've been on Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 11. I've been on the second page of the Dallas Morning News. It's all been favored. All been favored.
Where did you say you met? On Thursday.
We meet at the Grassy Knoll the third Saturday. Grassy Knoll every third week.
We don't know where that is, right?
And you can go to don'tcomply.com. You can go to comeandtakeitamerika.com. So we'd love to have you. We need everybody. We need little kids. We need old people. You don't have to have an AR-15. If you got a grenade launcher, bring in.
Go ahead, it's a shot.
Okay, cool. Okay, let me tell you one more thing. One more thing, the name of the group is actually Come and Take It Dallas. Because I was talking to Murdoch and the history there, that's what we're going to go by. Don't Comply is their branch of civil disobedience, which they're going to do more of, and feeding the homeless and stuff like that. But it's Come and Take It Dallas. If you want to look them up,
Come
they-
and take it.
Dallas.
.com.
.org or
It is a
.com?
.com.
Okay.
It's on
I think
Facebook
so,
too.
too.
All
Yeah,
three
you
of those
should-
should be.
If you do it, because
.com.
there's, and the thing, it'll come up, trust me, I'm pretty sure. The deal
You can also
is,
just go to don'tcomply.com, there'll be a link there.
I'll link to it,
Okay.
yeah. And we have it on our website, a good time to mention our website. We do want and encourage you guys to go to the website, because you can tell us if we screwed up and did something wrong, you know? Or also, you'll see the calendar of what we have coming up, you know? We're trying to have it be that the first hour is organizational, second hour is topical, you know, so people can know if it's something they're more interested in or not. Also on the website, you'll see the presentations of what we did the week before. The last week, we had an amazing meeting because we had Sandra Crenshaw, who was a former city council chairman, city council woman, yeah, and she is a maverick. I mean, she was talking about how John Wally Price and how we can get him on, federal charges, which are not being instituted because of hands being held and money to cross over, and she talked, named names. She's a fireball, big black woman, and she is passionate about exposing things too, and she'll be back. She got to our meeting late, so we still gave her an hour, and at that, it's kind of like the Moriartys. You give the Moriartys even a week, and it's not enough time. She was just so anxious to help us and be involved. Prior to that, the guest that we had as a backup guest, because we knew she'd be coming from another meeting, was a guy named Bill Benson, B-E-T-S-C. Bob? I thought it was Bill. I think it's Bill. If it's Bob on there, one of the things we need to fix, because it is Bill. He was a wonderful guy.
And
The last name is spelled right.
Yeah, Benson.
B-E-N, spell it for Joanne, please?
Oh, B-E-N-T-Z-E-N.
Yeah, that's how it is. And Joanne was here, a lot of you weren't here, so just briefly, he was a school teacher, and he's very passionate about the gerrymandered districts. And he's been fighting it because, and they both talked about it, because Crenshaw was talking about how literally they will write out a house, or add a house if somebody needs to be in the district to run. And it's just crazy. It's that crazy. And that's why they call it gerrymandered districts, and that's what can change or, affect an outcome of an election. He wants more circles, and he was explaining about the community concept and all this kind of stuff. So the more people know that there's alternatives, and he's talking about some changes were made in the city council, he's telling you, get involved. What all of it, everybody's saying, and I'm saying, if there's more people talking about it, it exposes the bad guys. If we don't do something, they get away with it easier, So he was passionate about that, and also this other positive school project that he has, which was very positive, and actually several people that night said to me, thank you for having something positive, because most of the time we're talking about things that are negative, depressing, overwhelming, or whatever. But his project is maybe 5 years old, and he was talking about, I don't know how many years old. Guys, you gotta go watch the presentation, it's on there. But he was talking about how in schools, especially underprivileged schools or whatever, they don't have a future, or they don't have a past, because a lot of their family isn't around and stuff like that. So they have this vault, and he has them write their goals, and their parents write goals, and then 3 years later, they look at it, see where they've come, and just trying to have them think ahead and think about their future. And while they're doing that, they may be thinking, do I really want to make this decision? Do I really want to go that way? Anyways, he was saying statistically it's very positive. And he also then mentioned, of course, because he's very involved in the DISD, that the new guy that's here, which bad with names, but it's on there, Mike, maybe? Anyways, you're involved, assuming you're more involved, is a bad guy. He came in and already numbers are going down. He came from Colorado. They didn't vet him properly and stuff like that. So, what's this? Anybody know?
how many miles or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was. Yes, Miles, yes. So, he was just talking about how important it is to get involved, and that was real interesting. I believe they meet on Thursdays, so we may get our feet wet doing that, because just recently, as I explained again, that Activists for Truth, our subjects are very broad, and one of the things we wanted to do while learning how to be involved in local politics was to pick a project and an issue, and that's fluoride. So the second hour, we're gonna talk details about that and how we're moving forward, but that's our local project moving forward, and it was getting involved with city council. Okay, so, moving on here, talking about other events that we did this week. David, there was nothing else. You guys remember anything else to talk about? John Birch, that's right. John Birch Society meets the second Tuesday of the month. Yes, that's really important, yeah. Jack McManus, I call him Jack, he's John McManus. Amazing, he's a hero to me. He's so smart, he's been around so long, he delivers the speech so well, and he's the president of the John Birch Society. I grew up in the John Birch Society. I've lived through several swings of where they slander the name and call them communists and all kinds of things that are so not true because they fought communism. And at this point right now, it kind of surprises me when I talk about the John Birch Society, and a lot of people don't know about the bad stigma, you know? And but they meet the second Tuesday of the month, and they have what's called a businessmen's meeting. They meet and they have lunch and stuff. Well, he was here this time, and the Moriartys went. And they were talking about some of their slogans are still true to form, is get the UN out of the US and get the US out of the UN. And, amen, right? And that is pivotal because when we talk about Agenda 21, when we talk about the arms treaty issue, when we talk about all these things, it's coming right from the UN. I mean, these things were, even Kennedy, way back in 1966, it was the complete disarmament of the U.S. in peaceful times. And that, I'm saying that wrong, by the way, but I remember when we were handing them out at that time. It's a little blue booklet, and I have actually 100 of them, much to the problem. I'll bring them next time. They've reprinted it and everything like that, and it's right there. And that's what they're trying to do because the reason we can hold off all the bad guys is because we have so many guns. And we never, never should surrender that. I mean, states are giving up their right to have guns, and the crime is totally, obviously worse, you know? So the statistics show it. Again, it's our job to inform people, let them know about the statistics, let them know it can be done, let them know how to fight it, which we'll go into this now. They haven't been here and
Let me throw something.
Go ahead.
He said that, and this is amazing, but it's so true. He said that if if the people in the United States would force the government to extract itself from the UN and NATO, it will actually destroy the one world order, folks.
Destroy what?
The one world order, folks. Well, that is what they, you don't think, well, it would be a good step in the right direction. They're trying to,
Sure get rid of their strong arms.
Say that again about getting rid of them.
That doesn't make the Conference of Foreign Relations go away. As bad and horrible as that organization is, the bankers, the railroads, the people that are financing and running this country will still be in place. They were at the League of Nations when that took place. They were in between the League of Nations. They're calling the shots.
But
It's
you're
that.
talking about the same folks.
That's
One
right.
world order, Rothschild, Bilderberg,
Right.
all of the same guys. They own all the central banks. But what they've been using as their vehicle to promote and sneak around and take control of the world is UN and NATO. And all these resolutions that are coming down that get NATO more involved in our military, you know, when you see our boys wearing blue patches and blue helmets, you know, that's not a good deal. But that's a real good way to start to unwind their control.
There, that's a start to unwinding it. It won't unravel it by itself. It's going to take the waking up of the American people to who's
Did you know
truly
that
running this country.
85 people in the world have half of wealth? 85 people.
And they're not on our side.
it's a good versus evil.
Paris.
That's okay. That's okay. No, no, we're gonna be having, one of the people from John Birch Society come and speak one day because they've had a plan in place on how to do it. They've always said that people need to meet in groups of 7, 15, 10 in homes so that when things break down, you have your little community, and they've always, they have real good ideas that they push. And CFR and Trilateral Commission, I wrote letters at 11 years old and stuff like that. And Dan Smoot was a friend in this area, He's the one that wrote, no, The Invisible Government. The Invisible Government. He was an FBI guy on the inside. Anyways, amazing story, and he was JBS. Anyways, you gotta look at the history of the JBS. They're awesome, and they have great DVDs. And I'm actually going to copy it and give everybody a copy of his speech when he came on. Jack McManus, John McManus came, and I'll give it all at the next meeting. Encouragement to come to the next meeting, right? Okay. So as I was talking about promoting our group, okay. I was going to. Yes, sure.
The way I understand it, well, not completely understood, but what I heard is that the IRS, all our income taxes are going to pay the interest on the Rothschild money. And so the IRS isn't being part of the government.
Right.
Right.
You're absolutely right. Anybody here does not believe that or know some background about
Freedom of fascism.
freedom
Got
of
it.
fascism
Right
is
there.
a great video to watch. Aaron Russo. John, do you know anything about the IRS and all that? We'll get you a DVD to go home with. We have some DVDs for you. The background on the money system, which is really.
Is that online or probably not?
Yeah.
Aaron Russo's, yes, the
Freedom
whole
to
thing.
fascism, just Google it.
Freedom to fascism.
America from freedom to fascism, a documentary.
You can watch the whole
And it talks about the IRS.
Income taxes, the whole
No,
scam.
sweetie, America
From freedom to
from
fascism.
freedom. And it's Aaron Russo. Aaron Russo. It's a real good documentary.
They're in the driver's seat right now.
We actually, not Brad, okay, so, we actually rented a theater, this was one of the first things we did as Activists for Truth, way back in May. And it was $400 to rent the Inwood Theater, and we showed Freedom to Fascism. And Rick was there, Rick was there, and then from that, this is activism, this is opening people's eyes that may not have an opportunity. So I'm a big proponent of having something to hand out about us. So I made these, I thought I'm going to get them cut. But then I thought to myself, no, you all can cut your own, but there's lines on it. And y'all have 6 then. If you think you need more, ask me. But there's events coming up that are outreach. And I would really hope you would think about it at that time, because an outreach events means we didn't take any time or money to put that thing together, but there's going to be a lot of people that might want to hear about us. So, would you pass some of these around? There you go, Brad. And you can see on the card what I put on there.
She's giving the name of the documentary film. It's called America from freedom to fascism. If you watch it online, I give you that. I give you the
Okay,
That's
so,
right here.
okay.
That's what the movie talks about.
So,
You know,
Okay.
it's just.
so keep those with you. If you'll notice, looking at it, if you'll notice, I don't, you know what, it's always happened to me, Kathy, it's after me. I know, you gotta do it.
Just the reverse.
Okay, good. Look at it for a minute while I talk about it, because,
Regina's talking again, you guys. Let's give her our attention.
You're awesome. You get a coffee or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so, as you notice on there, it has our website, it has an email, a way to reach us, and on the back it has a phone number, okay? So there's a way to find us, a way to reach us, okay? There's, usually on there I try to put some event that's coming up that I know who might be here. And if there's and then also I have our Facebooks on there. And I do, anybody who's on Facebook, I want you to go and like our Facebook. We have over 1,000 right now, and it looks good when people go to a Facebook that there's more people on there. Plus there's a lot of information and links to things and stuff like that. And also the reason I put that on there was there's 3 Facebooks. There's Pete Sessions, Stop Blocking Benghazi Truth. There is No Fluoride Dallas 2014, and then there's our Activists for Truth and Liberty. Because it'll catch people in different areas, and we can get them where they're interested. Pete Sessions is blocking Benghazi investigation. We talk about that at every meeting. We have a tie-in here in a minute. But he is the congressman in the 32nd district. If you don't know who your congressman, you should look into it and find out. He's been, anyways, he is the chairman of the Rules Committee. And there is a resolution 36, House Resolution 36, put out by Congressman Wolf of Virginia, and 177 co-sponsors on it. The day that I put the microphone in front of him and asked him why is he blocking it, his excuses have been there's no money, and his other excuse was there already is an investigation going on. A good leader lets that investigation come out and lets them do their job, and Darrell Issa is doing a great job. Darrell Issa himself wants to have an independent investigation because that committee is doing 5 different investigations. And they know and this is really important, the problem is, bottom line is Pete Sessions is either being scared or told or paid off or implicated. It's got to be one of those because he is stopping it. And the people at the top, the Obama, the Hillary, and all that, they're implicated. There's a lot of scandal connected to it, and they don't want it to come out. So that's a real important thing to focus on the cards, and it shows that we're broad. If someone just sees we're fighting fluoride, they're going to pigeonhole us and think that we're just a health-conscious group or something. Because we did support the GMO March, we support a lot of things, and we don't want to be pigeonholed because we want to help by being broad, okay? So, talking about what's coming up, I think this is going to be a very good event for us to use as an outreach, is there's Food Inc. It's a documentary, and it's being shown for free at UT Dallas, the campus. There's several things about this, guys, that I need some help with, Someone told me about this event. It's free, like I say. I have information more about it, but it will be on January 29th, which is a Wednesday. It's at 7:30, and it's in the Johnson Performance Hall. I have more information about the directions and all that stuff. I can tell you later. But the deal of it is
Will you send that to us?
sure, I will. Eve, is Eve here? David, would you put a little note to send that to?
Yeah, we'll put it,
Okay.
just make sure I'm here.
Yeah, make sure, yeah, good. And we can be outside handing out cards or inside handing out cards, and we are definitely going to be among people that would be interested in our fluoride movement, and then bridge into other things that we're doing in Y. And like I say, it's free, but there's something else bigger than that, in a way bigger than that. It's called TUG, and you might be interested in this, TUGG.com. The deal of it is this, I don't know, what do you want to call it? It's a .com that helps you set up events. And they help you, and then they sell tickets for you, or they announce it for you. And with this particular one, it must be UTD paid for it, because it was a free event. Well, they have to meet a quota of how many, so it said there's 20 more seats available or whatever. But it's an interesting concept to help us show our documentaries, And if someone wants to look up TUGG.com and give me some information about it, because like for example, Victor brought us a week ago, everybody got a free DVD that's called Thrive. And it's another one of those DVDs that is exposing the Federal Reserve, the power behind the money grab and all this stuff. So it's an exposing type documentary. And there's several of them, about other different things, like Food Inc., I haven't seen Food Inc., but I've seen King Corn, and the same idea, it's talking about how terrible what they do in the food industry and stuff like that. So, again, this is our outreach. Think about that. It is Wednesday the 29th. Now, this Saturday, Stacy Chen is running for 66. District 66 is that as a rep. House rep? House rep 66.
You ought to call it corn porn.
There you go. Kind of, sort of. So Stacy Chen, they're going to have a sine wave at Park. It is where, David? It's Park and Preston.
Northeast corner, Park and Preston.
Yes, at 2 o'clock. Now, we're nonpartisan, and we do mention candidates that are like-minded. I know Stacy's been around for a long time, I'm not sure who else is in the race. That's our job, we need to do that too. It's very important to find out who's running and why they're running and all that kind of stuff. If y'all know of somebody you wanna, bring up or talk about, before I finish, there's a gentleman here that's running against Pete Sessions, and he'll discuss his race. And we all know that Katrina Pearson is in the race too, as a Republican running in the primary. But as he mentioned, and he'll probably mention again, he's running as an independent. Now, if you lose in the Republican primary, it's almost kind of good to have a backup conservative person, the person that you're supporting, to maybe support after that Republican candidate. And as he said, he would more than likely consider throwing the support, But he's going to talk to you, I know. And anyways, all right, so let me continue on here. What else do we have going on? Saturday also. I'm sorry, guys. Believe it or not, I
Oh, the
tried.
sign waves on Sunday.
What time?
Sign waves on Sunday.
Sign waves on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
What's on Saturday? There is, guys. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Well, actually not that. Okay, but the same idea about these movies. There also is a movie that's going to be on January 30th. It's at the AM Valley View Theater, and it's a documentary again. That one, I actually bought an extra ticket, and if 2 people want to go, I'll give it to them. It's $11, but someone wants to go to this other one. It's another one that's talking about chemicals and how they build up in our body, and it would be a good outreach. It's called Unacceptable Levels, and it's we're so excited to be bringing our film to you. So it's another one of those films, and again, it would be a good group to go to. So that's the 30th, so that must be it. Hold on, sorry guys. David, will you check to see January 30th? Is that a Monday?
It's Thursday.
What's a Thursday?
January 30th.
Okay, 30th is a Thursday.
Because Wednesdays look only nice.
That's right. Did I do that? Okay. I'm glad I got so much help. That's what you all are here for, is helping me. Okay. So,
So
all right.
will all this be in an email, Tony, because
That's
this is
good
a lot of information.
It is, I know.
So-
Yes, we will.
Yes, it
We
will all
will.
be in the email.
Yes,
Okay.
we
So
will.
it'll be on your website too?
Website and Facebook, yes. So,
What's the name of the chemical again?
excuse me again?
What's the name of the chemical one again?
The chemical one is called Unacceptable Levels, a film by Ed Brown.
That reminds me of a book called Cross Currents,
Okay,
about all the currents we're living in, like microwaves, and I haven't
Good
read
point.
it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a woman here who's a doctor, and she's talking about even the smart meters, and she's Yvette, what's her last name? Lozano, I know you guys know her. She's anyways, she's gonna come and talk about that, and
Smart meters?
smart meters. There's dangers with smart meters, and it's a big issue, and you can opt out, and
What's the danger?
the danger is that they emit radio waves or frequencies that are unhealthy, and it has been proven. And other ideas are that they could collect data on different things. And
Isn't that true of the new fluorescent bulbs that are supposed to replace incandescent?
yes, yeah, I know they made us go to the other ones, and then disposing them is hazardous, and there could be hazardous to our health. Yeah, when you really realize what they're trying to do is the people in charge are really trying to limit our life, and while we're here, make it more debilitating and lessen the quality of our life and the numbers. And it's sad to say.
to put it.
Pleasant way to put it.
They're actually controlling us and killing us.
Yeah.
All right.
We can shut down Congress, we just have to drop a few CFLs in congressional chambers, and they have to evacuate the
There's a plan, there is a plan.
I'd like that.
Let's see, all right, we're almost there, yes.
I'm sorry, just really quick, unacceptable levels, is that an outreach event as well?
That will be, yes, that's an outreach event, and like I said, I have 2 tickets, and it's another one of those that was put out by Ton, and so I was trying to get a feel for how that's done, so that's all I got. So, all right, now, we get on the fluoride. But this gentleman is running against Pete Sessions, and anybody running against Pete Sessions in my book is pretty darn good, you know? He's my congressman. Okay, this is Brian Burrows, and we welcome you.
Thank you. I've been told to be brief. My name's,
Just stand over here
Oh,
because
okay.
they've got
All
it.
right.
Like there.
I'm a contractor here in Dallas, guys. I do paving repairs, concrete, asphalt repairs. I'm a home-owned company. I've had to go back to work because of economic reasons with my subcontractor, and we've got a great relationship. I'm running against Pete Sessions because in October our government shut down. And for years I have not really been interested in politics. I thought I had left our country in capable hands. And when I saw our government shut down and I saw what the potential of danger was, I decided it was time for me to stand up and make a bid for Congress. I felt like we needed some common sense down there. Now, I've been preparing my speeches. Of course, I practice them at home, but I bring my notes too. I notice that when I see Ron Paul speaking and I'm watching Rand Paul speaking on the floor, they're always referring to their notes, and I do that so that I can keep myself on track and I don't get too far down the rabbit hole with people. Try to keep it on subject on why I'm deciding, or why I have decided to run for Congress. I'm running as an independent. I have very strong conservative views, probably a little differing viewpoint on immigration, but I think I have a plan for that I would like to submit to people. I think we've allowed our opinions and our passions to divide us, set neighbors, co-workers, friends against one another just based on political beliefs. I believe that partisan politics in our government are dividing us and hurting our country. I think that our stumbling economy is the real enemy at the door. And I think Obamacare is going to be the crippling blow. We have open-ended appropriations. I've studied the ACA. I've read their authorizations for appropriations. And quite honestly, I believe it would take years of interpretation to understand exactly how that's going to tax us in the end. So my primary platform is to repeal and fund Obamacare. And quite honestly, I want a refund. I want a refund from CGI. I want a refund from the other companies who were involved. And I want to know why an industry insider software developer says that website could have been created for less than $1 million. And why we're footing the bill for it. Yeah. 2/3 of $1 billion.
Yeah.
A ridiculous amount.
But it works really well.
Not.
Selling the software.
Right. And I understand how they were picked. I've had some people talk to me about, there was cronyism involved with who they picked. Quite honestly, when we do business with people, we do business with people we know. I get that part of it. The cost I don't get. When I look at our annual deficit and then I look at how much debt we're piling on every year, that is a ridiculous amount of money for them to tell us to put the bill on. And I want our money back. What's that?
To Canada and outside the country
Yeah.
for the
I
program.
believe CGI is a Canadian company.
Which is your evidence that they're doing it on purpose.
Oh, well, I'd like to see somebody file a federal suit against them. I want our money back.
The owner of that company went to school with Michelle Obama. What
Yes, yeah, and that kind of cronyism is going to happen. I'm going to do business with contractors I know. Who wouldn't in this room? I want to do business with people I know and I trust.
I went to the second one with Michelle Obama. I was at Princeton when she was there.
Okay?
Should have stepped up and got the contract.
She was beautiful. I didn't do anything wrong back then.
I'm gonna touch on another subject real briefly too, because I'm a patriot. I'm a U.S. vet, I'm honorably discharged. I did not serve in Iraq or Afghanistan. I served back in the days of Panama. I got out in 1990. But I served my country. And I see how they're moving us towards socialism. Now, at first I think, well, maybe you're just kind of leaning to the wrong side on that deal, but when I hear people that I consider pretty savvy in what's happening in politics, saying the word socialism, and then I hear a guy like John Stossel say socialism, well, then I know I'm not alone in what I'm feeling. And I won't stand for it in my country. We're built on capitalism, we're built on free market, and that's the way we ought to keep it. I think that Congress's primary responsibility is to promote good economic policy. I don't feel like they're doing that. I don't feel like they're addressing that correctly. And I don't feel like we need these disruptive reforms that they're pulling with Obamacare. I think we just need some smart solutions. I would have rather seen a viable solution for the uninsured than to this huge industry crushing injunction that they put on everyone. And the amount of time it's going to have to be, I guess, translated into actual case law and precedent for them to be able to move forward and make a decision on it. I won't negative campaign against Pete Sessions. I've taken a look at his voting record. I know that quite a few people are upset with what's going on in Benghazi. We deserve the truth about what happened in Benghazi. I believe that we deserve the truth on why they spent the amount of money they spent on the website. I believe that we're looking at what the loss of Fallujah. We're looking at this bad deal with Iran, and it makes me wonder who's at the helm in our country.
The devil.
I see John Kerry trying to possibly. I'm not a big negative campaigner, guys. I don't think it's going to build any inroads to. I mean, I'm stating the truth here.
You are.
All you need to do is state the truth.
You're here.
And that's what I want to do from people. I don't want John Kerry walking around with bags of money that he just picked up from the Treasury and offering it to foreign countries when they're shutting our government down at the border. I don't want to see that. It's time for some smart economic policy. I have 10 years in banking and finance. I worked out in Los Angeles. I own my own currency exchange. I've dealt with the global currency markets. I'm a contractor now. I've done that for 7 years. And the one thing I learned from my uncle when I started getting into commercial construction was you don't want the superintendent to get out of the truck on the job site. And quite honestly, they're shut down when they get out of the truck. And I'm fed up with it. I understand the Tea Party has Katrina Pearson. I've seen her values. She's very conservative. I like Katrina. Like I said, I'm not going to negative campaign, but I believe that strategically we need to put ourselves in a position to maintain a conservative seat in our district. And I'm sorry, I didn't know about Katrina before I decided to pop my head up and get out of the truck. So, I want to make sure that if there is a possibility of having some statesmanship with Pete Sessions, utilizing his sphere of influence, his network he's developed over 17 years, we give him that opportunity. Give him an opportunity to leave a legacy of statesmanship and either usher in a freshman congressman or congressperson from Garland or one from Dallas. I would appreciate, I've got some cards over here. I don't know if I've missed anything. My wife will let me know. This is my wife, Kelly.
Hi.
I brought
If
some
anyone
business
has any
cards.
questions,
Thank
they
you.
talk to
Good
them
luck.
later. Is that okay? Really, you'll be around to answer some questions?
Sure. And also, I'm not raising money.
Yeah, let's do questions later so we
It's a
can-
shoestring budget. I'm simply using social media. I'm a big Second Amendment protector. That's how I met some guys who invited me here tonight. It was the open carry walk in Arlington.
He was at the Open Carry Walk in Arlington. That's awesome.
Thanks, y'all.
Well, I wanted to quickly mention two more events. The first Saturday of the month, there's Chalk Art down at Dealey Plaza. And Rick does great music. It's called Curtis.
Music?
Yeah, you're
No, it's just free folk. I just play folk. I
Folk
just play on my
music.
guitar and sing. But I do chalk art. If anybody likes to draw, if there's an artist in you, it's really cool down there because most people are already suspect. They're from out of town, so they feel a little more comfortable talking to you out of the box. And so I've done tons of activism in all kinds of different ways, and this is one of the funnest I've ever done.
Yeah, so it's the first Saturday of the month. He gets down there early, but I think he says from 1 until 3, and then you'll see the art that's there. You can
Where
have
are we talking about?
Dealey Plaza, it's also
Dealey?
called D-E-A-L-Y
Sorry,
Plaza.
I can't write
It's
down there.
okay.
No problem, take your time.
Kennedy was shot.
D-E-A-L-Y.
Plaza.
It's also called The Grassy Knoll. If you search either of these, you'll get, but it's actually Houston and Elm.
Yep.
Those crazy gun nuts.
And what
Yeah.
time is that?
Okay.
1 to 3,
1 to
1 o'clock
3.
is fun. And then I always play my songs on guitar after I finish my art.
Yeah.
Do you jam?
I jam, I rock
Yeah.
and roll.
Do you want more guitarists than singers?
Are you? Yeah.
I play guitar and sing, and you can always use more singers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and
So
there's
come on
that.
out and sing.
Yeah, join, really join.
All my
It's fun.
songs are written, not anthemic, but they're with a lot of melody and encourage people to sing along.
And also, there's an event going on in Dallas, which is on the 22nd, which I don't know when that, was that one? 22nd, anybody? Is what the, anyway, it's a homeless event. There is a gentleman it's been coming to our group for about 2-3 weeks. So, Wednesday? Okay. Thank you guys. But, so, at the City Hall, he's going down there to speak in the morning from 9 to 9:30. And he's trying to bring awareness to the problem. He's been doing it for 10 years. His name is Richard Sheridan. And if you look at the presentations on the website, you'll see what he had to say at each time that he was here, because he had a full hour at one time. It's all about the corruption with the mayor and the city council, that they're talking about this permanent housing. Because all this money is being spent, yet there's 3,000 veterans homeless on the street and freezing, and it's causing all kinds of problems, and it costs more money because they go to the jails and they go to Parkland. And anyways, it's a big story to it all, but the main thing is he's calling it Jericho Day at City Hall. Oh, calling all homeless to City Hall, Jericho Day. And come spread and be seen and heard. And so what he's hoping is to have a lot of people there. You know, if you want to be in the audience, this will slightly segue, but I want Jimmy to come up here about talking about City Hall. I'll bring that up again about people in the audience. But I want to give Jimmy and them 5 minutes. I know it's a short amount of time to say what you want to say, but come on up, Jimmy and Joanne, with their continuing story.
I'm working with the guy that's trying to set up a run. He came to me at Liz, or it looks like a running store. He came to me to set up, he wants to set a homeless run up through Highland Park with actually the homeless people running.
Is that in March? And is his name John McAbee?
That sounds
Because I'm
right.
going to help him too. He had sent me that. It's something that he just came up with too. And that'll be on our calendar, and that'll be on our, you know.
But that would be so beautiful to have the homeless people actually running through Highland Park. I mean, I'm interested to see if Highland Park's going to let them do it.
They have other runs. I
that's
think
good.
that's
I know,
a
but-
First Amendment
yeah.
right, I imagine. But we'll talk about it, and he's going to be here. He's
Yeah.
actually, John McAbee, he's a young man. I haven't met him in person, but he's going to be down there for Jericho Day supporting that. What you got handed right now is an article that Jerome Corsi has just put out, and it's talking about some stuff. So go ahead, hit it, guys.
Okay, before I do that, I'm gonna give you all one piece of information. A vote's real important. We found out the day before yesterday that the water commissioner at Oak Cliff, there was one vote cast in that whole election down there. So, you know, not one difference, one vote. So your vote's real important. Now we'll get on to our stuff.
That's where one vote does count.
Yeah.
Every vote counts.
Yeah, and what happened is that we are eyewitnesses to the naval atrocities in Libya. We were trapped in Tripoli for over 100 days. In the end, we were captured by Al-Qaeda, taken to the torture center. We were sentenced to be killed, chopped up, and burned. God got us out of there with 3 miracles. And when we got back here, the CIA has been attacking us ever since then. And we didn't find out that we were being attacked. We were 2.5 years wondering what the hell's wrong with us, you know. And we lost everything. We were very, very successful business folks. We lived a fairly moderate life, but we were very substantial folks. And Regina kept getting in the face of Pete Sessions because he'd been blocking the investigation on Benghazi. And we have all the information on Benghazi, not from us, but because we got real close to tribal leaders in Libya, and they had been supplying us with intelligence every day. And we finally started going public, since Pete Sessions wouldn't do anything, and Durham wouldn't do anything, people we had relationships with. Pete Sessions validated with the Defense Intelligence Agency that yes, we had been blacklisted, yes, we had been soft-killed by the CIA, but besides that, all the intelligence we brought forward to 4 intelligence agencies that came into our home, and our invitation was 100% correct. And the intelligence of the United States had no more intel in Libya because they, for all practical purposes, been thrown out. And Pete Sessions said, you know, after I verified all that, he said, why the United States didn't make you their best friends, I don't know. but instead of attacking, but then he's done nothing about it. We started going public about 2.5 weeks ago. We brought forward, he's a real articulate, well-spoken, English-speaking guy that lived across the street from the Benghazi compound. And he had a 2-hour interview with Jerome Corsi, 2 hours on the Joyce Riley show. Her producer said that was the most important show she's done yet. We had him on 15 or 20 minutes on Klein's show Sunday night. His producer said it was the most important show he'd ever done. Now, Joanne and myself know the 3 guys that coordinated the attack on the U.S. compound in Benghazi. We know the names, addresses, and phone numbers, and their families outed them. None of the intelligence agencies here have ever wanted to talk to us about that. We tried to force it down their throat, but we know who they are. In their long report they put out, they don't have any idea who did it. We know who did it. And we've got several eyewitnesses, just like this young man. You can go to Joyce Riley, you can go to our website, you can hear what he said. Absolutely truthful guy, very articulate, very bright young man. His father happened to be one of the tribal leaders. We don't tell that because he's from Benghazi, they'll kill him. Good news is he probably is not going to have to go back and get killed. But, you know, we have the information. And look, Joanne spends 6 or 8 or 10 hours every day coordinating the intelligence we're getting from all over Libya. And the great news is, the reason I'm dressed like this is the Libyan traditional garb. And Joanne will tell you why I'm dressed like this.
We got pictures.
No, that's your show. It's your deal.
Okay, well, first I want to say that you have to understand there was no Arab Spring. There was no revolution in Libya. The Libyan people were not behind that revolution. There was 5% of the Libyans that were radical Islamists, and they were illegal in Libya. Libya did not allow any radical Islamists in the country. Anybody that was of that persuasion was either outside the country or in jail here. And they were very good at keeping them out. They had more security than we did. So when NATO came in, they brought 250,000 mercenaries, Al-Qaeda mercenaries into Libya, and they blew up that country with 60,000 sword days. And absolutely.
That's more bombing raids than World War II.
Yeah, they blew up everything. Water supplies, power plants, homes, everything, and they gave that country to Al-Qaeda. So in Libya today, it's a failed state. There is no, the government there is a puppet government put in by the CIA. There's 1,500 militias, they call them, but they're really armed gangs that roam the streets like the Old West. They have no security, no police, no anything. For the past 3 years, the Libyans have, there's 2 million in exile, there's 1 million homeless inside. There weren't 5 million Libyans totally, there were 5.5 of them. NATO killed 500,000. So those people outside, there are 2 million outside, 1 million homeless inside, and then the 2 million that live in their homes in Libya live in fear every day. Lucky if they get food, lucky if they get anything. To a country that was the most aggressive in Africa before being put back. On the 17th of January, the Libyan Green Resistance, which has been forming for 2 years, came in and took back the south of Libya 2 days ago. They own the south of Libya. 40% of the country is under the green flag now. Flag of the Great Jamaria that they have. They are busily taking back the rest of the country right now. The government of Libya put out a false information, said, well, these are our militants trying to overrun our country. They aren't. They're Libyan patriots trying to take their country from a false government. And they own Sabah. Now, what happened, the first thing that happened was the government tried to get the Libyan pilots to fly against the civilians. And the Libyan pilots wouldn't do it, so they hired Sudanese pilots paid by the country of Qatar. And they bombed Sabah yesterday. Today they tried to do it again. This is what the UN went to war against Libya for. I mean, they decided we're going to blow up the whole country because supposedly Gaddafi flew against them, and that never even happened.
Never happened. Never flew one plane against the people of Libya. Never fired on the people of Libya. Fired on the Al-Qaeda insurgents. So now they've been bombing civilians like crazy and not a word from anybody. And that's being done by Qatar and Turkey.
Qatar paid for it. Today, I just...
This is breaking news.
Yeah.
Yesterday in the paper.
Today, the Green Resistance shot down one of those planes and took back their airport.
Awesome.
Just saw it.
That's really, really big news.
Yeah, this is big news. We were on
They're
Voice of
green
Russia today.
flags on the east side,
Dr.
west
Corson
side.
will write an article, he did an interview today with our people. There is a Voice of Russia is doing an interview. We have a bunch of radio stations that are waiting in line that want to talk to us now. It's not, you don't see the news over here because Obama says Al-Qaeda is gone, but Al-Qaeda is in Libya. In Tripoli, the Warshapana tribe just had a big battle and beat Al-Qaeda today near Tripoli. The Green Flag flies in Bin Walid, it flies in Tobruk, it flies in a lot of cities now. And it's all over the news over there, but we aren't hearing it.
Let me mention one more thing. Here's how they're fighting. They're in the towers, and they're sniping and killing people as they're trying to come in and take over their country. They're just murdering psychopathic bastards that belong to the United States CIA. Yes, sir.
Kind of generally speaking, do the tribesmen and the leaders, do they recognize Al-Qaeda as Al-Qaeda? Do they
Sure, they
recognize
hate Al-Qaeda.
Islamic support?
They call them rubbish people. They say they're not part of our Islamic.
So it's not that difficult for them to organize a
Oh, they know,
resistance against
because
them
they're not
because
living-
they
They're
do.
foreigners.
They're not
In
living.
other words, if you know the truth, it's a lot easier to
Oh,
work
yeah.
against it.
But
They're
these
not
are two-
deceived, they're
These
not.
are 250, no, they're not.
This is
They're the most
inside their
non-confrontational.
culture. They understand 100%.
They know Al-Qaeda, Muslim Brotherhood, Ansar al-Sharia. They do not include those as living people. And if any Libyans join those radical groups, their families have disowned them. And the problem is the United States imported and paid these mercenaries $200, $2,500 dinar to join, $1,000 dinar for every soldier they kill. And so the Libyans know who these guys are because most of them are foreigners.
Right.
And our information on Benghazi, we know who they are. But nobody here wants to know about it. I think you all probably like to know.
Yeah, Obama just came out, today, and said Al-Qaeda is like second string or whatever he said, I don't know what it was. JV. Yeah, that's a bunch of BS. Al-Qaeda is strong and armed, thank you very much, Obama, in Libya. And the Libyan tribes, which every person in Libya is a member of a tribe, it's an 8,000-year-old culture, the Libyan tribes have joined together 100% to free their country.
The Al-Qaeda's taken over Fallujah again. They are more aggressive. And the reason for that is that here they got $500 billion that used to be in Libya. And they own the country of Libya. And so they have a staging here. They have had huge training camps. They're bringing in mercenary, they're bringing radical from all over the world. They take them into Libya, give them a new Libyan passport with a new Libyan name. They're giving them $4 to $5 million apiece in bank accounts in the United States. They get permanent green cards, multiple entry visas, and they have been doing this. The Al-Qaeda has owned the passport office in Libya since October of 2011, and they have been sending to the United States 200 to 300 a month of radical Islamists, well funded, and they're sending them all over the United States. Isn't that good news? Scares me to death and I'm fearless.
What's happening to the oil industry there?
It's shut off right now.
All shut down?
There's
The
no
Green
oil.
Libyans have shut it off. They said, we're not going to give those bastards
Green
our
resistance
oil.
shut off the oil, so
Been shut off for a long
they couldn't
time.
fund the country anymore.
Green resistance?
That's the
Those are
real
the
Libyan
Libyan
people.
patriots.
It's the legitimate Libyan people.
Those are the
Their
Libyan
color is
patriots.
green and they
They
are
are a lot of
the
money
real.
to process that oil.
Somewhat green flag.
Yes.
No, their oil is the lightest in the world. Their body light is specific gravity 45 to 55. It's the lightest in the world. The reason Libya's oil is important is because there's refineries in France and Germany that cannot use any other oil. It has no sulfur. It's some of the best oil in the world. You can almost take it out of the ground and put it in your crankcase.
I want to say one more thing.
Oh, you're doing good. This is really important.
Okay, there's an interview by Dr. Corsi done with Sheikh Mahmoud al-Sharif, who is the leader of the 5 tribes on the Tripoli, Tunisia. I asked him, I said, Sheikh, would you tell Dr. Corsi what the hope is for Libya? This was about 2 weeks ago before the Green Resistance actually, the call went out for them to finally come back in. He said the only hope for Libya is the people from the past regime who know how to clean this rubbish. We kept this rubbish out of our country for 20 years. It was Gaddafi who told the world about Al-Qaeda, who warned them about Al-Qaeda. And he said, we will be the people who clean our country. And that's what he said, and they will.
If we stay out of it.
They're fighting our battle, they're fighting Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
The Libyan tribes made a formal offer to the United
Yeah, that's
States
important.
right after 9/11. And they said, if you'll just stay the hell out of our country, quit supporting Al-Qaeda, then we will go back into Libya. We will clean Libya completely of all the radical Islamists, and then we will join hands with the tribes in all the other Muslim countries, and we will eradicate the radical Islamists in the world. And that phone call went to the United States, not one person in Washington DC would respond to it. They then appointed us as their official spokespersons, and still nobody will respond to it. Joanne's dialing finger is one digit shorter than it used to be because she's worn it out calling everybody in Washington DC.
They have really, I know, I've seen it, so it's amazing what they're doing to expose it. But what they've said is, please don't help us anymore. They'll go on the radio shows and they'll say, boy, you must hate the American people. And they go, no, the American people, we don't hate them. It's just your what's it called, administration. Just tell them to stop. Stop supporting the bad guys.
Stay out of our country.
Yes, get out of our country. And they actually made an offer, that they would clean up all the Al-Qaeda in that area. And they could. It's just that it was never picked up off the table.
Not just there, they said they'll do it worldwide.
Oh,
Tribes joined
Now,
worldwide.
we're being effective. Our lives were threatened by the CIA in our own home. And they told us we need to forget about Libya and start our life over that day or we wouldn't have a life. And I said, that sounds like a threat. She said, you stand down and do exactly what I'm telling you or you won't have a life. That was Nikki Barracall, CIA in our home. He was there at our invitation. Now that this week, we've gone upstream and one of the leaders of Al-Qaeda said he was going to chop our heads off.
On
And then-
Facebook.
On Facebook.
And then the intelligence agencies here called some of our tribal leaders in Egypt, so there wouldn't be any record of the phone call here, and they told us we need to stop naming names of the intelligence agencies and stop talking about Tara Dahl, because otherwise we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
She's
So
Michelle
we've been
Bachmann.
threatened again.
That was just in the last day.
What's that again? Who?
Tara Adal.
Tara Dahl.
Yeah, she works, what is her
Michelle
position?
Bachman's
Michelle
aide.
Bachman's aide. And she was the one that talked to them
She's the
and
one who brought in all the intelligence.
the intelligence agencies. So, the history, you gotta get the DVD, it's $10, I'm telling you, it tells a lot of the history. There's so much since then.
Name our website.
The website is
Libyan War the Truth.
Libyan War the Truth. And they have a Facebook and they also have a .com.
And the
There's
government has
updates all the time.
they have ruined us. We were substantial people, we're now homeless.
Yeah, and they still have their product that they went into, oil and gas, it's for cleaning up oil things and stuff like that, but they can't get back into business right now, but they will, they will. This is all big and looking up, this is very exciting, and this is that concept of the tiny dot, because I said to them, yeah, but they have like tanks, I mean, the bad guys over there have been funded by our supplies and guns and everything. I go, how are these people doing it? It's the numbers. It's the numbers. There's millions of them, and even though there might be tens of thousands or whatever of the other bad guys with lots of, they just captured 250 tanks.
Yeah.
And they were told to not give,
So they
There's a
turned the
picture.
hands around and started pointing the other direction.
one of the orders that went out was to not give any of the Al-Qaeda any fuel anymore.
No fuel, see? So they're being like we are supposed to be, like those people that unite together, and even though the bad guys, you can be overwhelmed by thinking how there's 85 people with all this wealth and all this technology, and they can hear what we're talking about. Don't be afraid. Unite and move forward, you know?
comply.
Don't
See, Jerry
comply.
Falwell.
Don't buy their line, because you're playing right into it.
The
Like,
Egyptians did it, they took back their country by having a popular uprising. The Libyans are doing it.
What about
They said, "Well,
Iceland?"
you're gonna take our country back, we're gonna
yeah,
try
it has been done. Not enough, but, you know, we can do it. Yes, sir. You have a
We
question?
listen to Joyce Riley, right?
Yes.
She always saying that Al-Qaeda is the.
CIA.
CIA.
Yeah.
Right.
They know it.
It's
They say that.
tool of the CIA to do what they're doing all over the world.
Even the sheik, the Shaker sheik, when he was interviewed by Joyce Riley, that was one of the questions she asked. Do you believe the CIA? He goes, yeah, we all know that. We all know that. So it's unbelievable. You should really go to the Power Hour. Oh, wait a minute. It's on that card. Oh, no. It's on another handout, guys. And we're going to segue into what we're talking about.
And Joyce is
Brad.
coming, right? Joyce is coming to
Yes, we'll talk about that too. Thank you, Brad. Brad, will you give one of these? But let's see, let's hand the pile around because it seems like handing it one-on-one, it gets conversations going. So could y'all get one and make sure the people behind you get one? And this piece of paper is going to segue into fluoride, and also the back of it has some information about one of the things I say at the bottom on the back. Okay, I need one. I need one, thank you. On the bottom on the back, it says, every day at least, tell at least one person about an alternative media source. GCNlive.com has many shows to pick from. You can look through what they talk about. stand for, either a health show or whatever. And Joyce Riley is one of my favorite. It's the Power Hour. It's on Monday through Friday, 7 till 10. But they archived the shows, and the Moriartys were on what day?
It's on the website.
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday. Okay, last Thursday, and it's Joyce Riley. But it's on the back of the paper that you're getting.
Through that door, hallway.
Regina, is this all crap in the water?
Yeah, but we'll get that. Okay, let's not jump ahead. Okay. Okay, bye guys, we'll talk. Okay, so, here we go. Joanne, you want to call attention again?
Yeah, sure.
Regina's wanting to talk. Okay, good. Okay, here we go again. All right, so the deal of it is at the bottom of the paper that I gave you, so you don't need to write it this time, it says the Joyce Riley, the Power Hour, okay? And you can go to thepowerhour.com and find it also. Bottom, there you go. And the Aladesk Show and the New American Magazine. These are just some sources. But there's a lot of sources. There's other local radio, a tea party up in Arlington, Mel Moss, the Lone Star Tea Party. They have a radio station, and a lot of these are internet radio. They're not, radio in your car. I don't know what that's called, but it's internet radio. And but that's okay, and they're growing. Like Joyce Riley has about 80,000 listeners a day. And she's going to be coming live to do an event with us in February, the middle of February. We haven't locked in where exactly, but we'll let you know. And she's awesome because she is a whistleblower on many accounts. She's a nurse. She was a heart emergency nurse. So she's very smart and can say all the hard things. She can pronounce all the things. And yes, what happened was she heard the lie. And that's the thing too, for people that, well, I guess everyone here would believe it. Our country lies, and they tell stories to do things they want to do.
Our government lies.
Yeah, what did I say, our country? You're right, our government, the administration. And to get things done the way they want to get it done. So going into Kuwait, they fabricated this story by having someone who was a supposed witness to babies being thrown out of incubators, and that all these atrocities were going on, and she heard it, and she believed it, and she signed up to go. And she got that Gulf War syndrome while she was there, an illness, and she has been exposing that, and the doors were closed on her, just like the Moriartys. This is very common. Their way of shutting you down is just like dragging it out. Oh, we'll call you tomorrow, and who can keep fighting it a lot of times, But she got the radio show, she exposes and she helps expose the Gulf War illness and the depleted uranium, the things, yes. And we're going to have her, that's probably going to be her topic. Maybe some or all of you know about depleted uranium, but it's criminal. It's past criminal. It's just really horrible, the damage. And here we are, talking about sending more soldiers, our soldiers that get touched with this, and then it touches the soil, and it's just
Chromosomes.
yeah, it's cute. It's the future generations. It's just so horrible. But she is firsthand. She'll talk about depleted uranium and other things, and it should be a really good event to have people come to it that maybe haven't heard or have heard of Joyce and want to see her in person. She's a wonderful woman. Go ahead.
When you Pete Sessions said that they knew everything about Benghazi, and the reason they hadn't released it was because it was going to be released opportunely so that they get rid of all the Democrats forever. Now, Joyce Riley, she was the first radio show that we had our live witness on. We've been holding these guys back, expecting, praying that somebody in government would do something. We knew that they were going to start the attack in their country in the near future. So we had him on Joyce Riley's show, and she gave him almost 2 hours. And immediately, within 2 days of him being on Joyce Riley's show, then the Senate releases their report.
It was really
It was real
close.
quick.
The next day.
And according to Pete Sessions, it wasn't going to come out for a long time, not until right before the election.
So you guys can check it. I think it was the 17th. I'm pretty positive. The Senate report, the Senate hearing came out. There's been some discussions about it. And what's really interesting in that report, that DVD that was talked about on all the morning radio, TV, radio, and Condoleezza Rice and all that, talking about the thing that was the trigger that started the, yeah, was it DVD, or was it a movie?
They say a movie.
A movie, okay. Which everybody disapproved, you know.
And it was Susan Rice, not Condoleezza Rice.
Oh, yeah, that's true. See, you're new and you helped me, but people know this, I've been doing this for years.
Don't get her started on her boyfriend,
Yeah.
Trey Dowdy.
Y'all are big Aussies, and I commend you guys.
Yeah.
It's very, very important to me.
But in the report, it's only mentioned one time. So even the way they blasted it, they were just trying to trump up reasons to go in there and to hate the you know, just terrorists. They were trying to build up the terror aspect. Okay, so, talking about that, we're getting back to, yes,
Just before we get into the floor, I just wanted to address my comment. I was really excited about them talking about voter fraud last week.
yes.
I do not believe that these people are staying in for 30 years
Yeah,
if they weren't in there because of voter fraud.
it's a big part.
If you can't, and I'm glad that they brought it up at Ted Cruz rally about Harry Reid. Nancy Pelosi was in there before him when Bush was in there. If you don't, this is my advice, if you don't know who the enemy is, and you're not fighting to win, if you can't get a vote through the Senate, you can't change the budget, you can't do anything. You can't absolutely do anything. The Republicans have sent these bills through. They can't even get them up to vote. So what is the point? So when Ted Cruz said that Harry Reid would be gone in November, of course we all cheered. But if he isn't, I don't see how you can do anything. And like I said, when Nancy Pelosi was in there, she controlled every single thing that went to Congress. So no matter what kind of bills and work that you did, it was all futile because she controlled everything.
It's the same thing. And
Rules committee, you want everything.
Or Boehner, or in the state legislature, you got Strauss, No,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what, one person at a time so we can hear what.
Unfortunately, that is true. Now, in the state legislature, you have Strauss, and he blocks and he threatens people, and you're absolutely right. Now, we're going to have, I don't know, I'm not going to answer it, but Charles Key is a congressman from Oklahoma, and he's awesome. And he told me that he has a plan that he wants to teach the freshmen and stuff like that, a way around this. So I need to get him here soon and have him, it might be an answer, because a lot of people about, you know, in our state legislature, there was a great congressman, David Simpson, that was wanting support, yeah, to get Strauss out. But people are afraid. They're afraid if they even stand up, then they'll never get on a committee. You're right. There's a lot of fear.
You gotta get the foundation out first.
I understand. There's a
You
lot of
cannot hit these guys at the top. You got to chisel the
Yeah.
foundation. You know, you have to learn to fight to win. I was married to an alcoholic. I went to Al-Anon. They teach you. You cannot out-con these people. These people are drug addicts, they're alcoholics, these people are running our government. You cannot out-con them. You cannot outvote them if there's voter fraud. You have got to take the foundation out. How can, they've got the Attorney General in their pocket. How can you possibly do anything? You have to get rid of Harry
I'm
Reid.
an optimist.
I know, but if you're gonna fight, don't waste your time.
Sharon Angel is going to be here in Fort Worth in the next few days. We support her, she sent us an invitation, she ran against Harry Reid and she almost beat him.
Well, I know what she's saying though.
He's been,
because I
they need to
heard
put him in
people say-
jail.
Yeah,
But supposedly there's land frauds that he's been committing for years and years and years. Somebody's covering for him. Get at that person, take him out.
They're all part of the same cabal.
Well, I know, but I mean, you've got to start from the bottom.
He beat us up personally. I mean, he got his criminal, but all of them are. I didn't beat him.
Okay, no, I understand what you're saying. Stick with this longer. Again, it's numbers eventually. There's so many things that we need to look at.
I think this is chipping.
Yeah, this is chipping. We're chipping. Because there is some issues with the quantity of how many are in a congressman's district that needs to be looked at big time, so that there's better representation. We are going to be addressing and are addressing the voter fraud thing and the flipping of the vote and the black, and having paper ballots. But it takes people. It takes you bringing 2 or 3 next time, and it takes people, because we talk about this.
I'm not trying to criticize.
No, no, you're not. You're
We gotta fight to
passionate.
win.
That's
You can't
good.
take them down.
That's passion. That's
Regina,
passion.
please talk.
Sorry. Okay.
You know, the government acknowledges that in 2012, there was minimally $3.3 billion spent by the lobbyists.
Okay.
This is what they acknowledge. So how do you compete with them as an individual?
Well, again, that's other things
Well,
to discuss.
here's an example.
Yes,
Here's
sir.
an example. On the GMO fight, the GMO labeling fight that recently happened in Washington, there was a lawsuit that revealed who was funding the side that wanted to keep GMOs from being labeled, the big food corporations. So now, every time those food corporations put out some marketing ploy on Facebook, they're getting slammed left and right by consumers. You do it by speaking up at every single small, insignificant seeming opportunity, and eventually,
That's right.
they will go the way that the people want. Because the government, without the authority behind it of the people's will fall.
Or
It
without
has
money.
every single time.
We're in basically an oligarchic state here.
That's right.
Yeah, we
All
are.
right, and it's true all over the world. Money talks and bullshit walks.
And the reason we're in an oligarchic state is because the people are divided on these very silly lines that don't make any sense. Democrat and Republicans, left and right.
You've got to compete with the Cowboys, which is not easy.
That's true.
You
Diversion.
know, and the Spurs. I mean, that's where the masses are.
Well, sure, but the other thing to consider is that it only took, 5 or 10% of the people in
Usually it's 3%.
colonial America to
Yeah.
start a revolution.
That's true. Really, it just
Different
takes
times.
an inflamed 3%, right? So that's now bringing us to, we gotta talk about fluoride, we gotta at least get to our main topic before it's over at 9 o'clock. Okay, I've handed you all a handout, and we are working on it, and I love your passion,
Thank you,
that's what it
sir.
takes too. I really do, John. John is new here too. And one more thing is, another event we're gonna have is abolish the IRS, because then, we'll do that again. Okay, so that's something too. Okay, so, well, let's look at the part where it says chemical price agreements. The backside of there. Okay, so, our topic is fluoride, right? Well, what happened was, we've gone to the city council once already. 5 of us spoke, and we didn't do a great job. I mean, some of us did okay, but a lot of us didn't do that good.
Yeah,
Because
you did.
I don't know, but it's okay. Because it was getting our feet wet. A lot of us didn't even know where to park. We didn't have the concept of any of it, hadn't even seen it, most of us. And so we knew we weren't going in there to be perfect, So, but we wanted to get to see them eye to eye, have them see us, and get it on the table, okay? Well, that day, I was introduced, they did listen to us. They did. They introduced me to 2 people, the city manager guy who works with the city manager, and also a water treatment guy high up in the water department. Okay, that gentleman, I said to him, okay, I want to make an appointment with you. What are you doing in the next 2 weeks? He said, it's pretty empty. The next morning, I emailed him and I called him. Okay, I want to meet with you soon. And no answer. I called again and again, dead air, and it was frustrating. It was near the holidays, I gave him a few days on the holidays, and then I copied and pasted my original request for some information. And he sent me some, and this is one of the documents he sent me. And there's some other documents, but this is very telling. If you'll look, this is the chemical price agreements, and fluoride comes to about $1 million a year. Okay, and what they did is they had a contract for 3 years. So if you see on there 2 years it has been spent, or, did you get this? Does everybody, mine is colored, but I recopied you guys, it's on your table, okay? All right, now, there's a lot of other things on here, but we've got to stay focused with what we're doing. We can say we don't like a lot of other things, or we can add in things that aren't there, but that's not what we're doing. We're focusing on fluoride for many reasons. Number one, it's real obvious it costs a lot of money, okay? And I actually called Ron Horn, and he didn't come to the phone, but that's Penco. And they're the ones that supply the product, the fluoride product, okay? And so, the deal of it is the plan, we will get fluoride out of the water in Dallas. We will. We will get this done. Yes, we will. I know.
That's chipping away.
That's right. Because there's many reasons for this. Not only it's just horrible, there's no good reason to have fluoride in the water, and tons of reasons and risks that are proven that we shouldn't have it in there. So we have that on our side. We have science on our side. Since 2010, there's been a lot of documentation coming out. And for 14 years, Paul Connett, C-O-N-N-E-T-T, has been compiling this information. He wrote a book that has 80 pages of documented research, okay? He's got a fabulous website. It's called fluoridealert.com. And he has been providing, he has the biggest health, what is it called? I'm going to say health database in the world about the information on fluoride. And he's written a book, and the book is called A Case Against Fluoridation, okay? And that's on our side, because they won't even debate him. He's said, come debate me. And what is it called? The AMA, I'm bad with acronyms, but you know, the World Health Organization, I don't have this thing. But all the organizations, the dental organizations and stuff, they just have money on their side and propaganda. And all they keep putting out is the same propaganda saying it makes strong teeth and it's helpful.
No, it doesn't.
But it doesn't. It actually weakens your teeth, it weakens your bones. And that's the thing. In 2011, Connick got them to state that ingested, it doesn't do it, but topically it does. So that's why he keeps pushing that topic. Topically, it does do some good. There has been some proof that it does some good. But ingested, it does not. So, you have that on your side. Another thing why I'm passionate, we are going to get this done in Dallas, is because the weight is on our side. A lot of people, if you talk to 10 people, a good 7 of them are like, yeah, it's not good for you, you know? 5 years ago even, a lot of people would say, yeah, but it's good for your teeth. So, a lot of that is being eroded away, so we have that. And I'm just really passionate we're going to do this because I think Activists for Truth needs to spearhead, we are spearheading this, we will get it done, and we will, I believe, the fact that we're doing something really, really good, really, really passionate, and the way we're going to tackle it, it's going to get done, and it'll help other cities. If Dallas can get this done and on the books, it can help so many other cities. There's a woman in McKinney, her name is Pam Wenzel. She has a Facebook, and I think it's called North Dallas Fluoride Against Fluoride. She tried really hard in her area, but she got lies. She was told lies, and she believed them. And she followed the routine of what they were told her to do. They told her that all the 17 cities that are compiled in that area, she had to get approval from them. She wasted a lot of time. She knows it was a lie. They were lies. She told me this on the phone. So we have that background there, and she's still passionate to help us. But another thing she did was she made the mistake of a pro bono lawyer to write a paper for her. Once she did that, they wouldn't talk to her anymore because they said, no, we'll talk to your lawyer, or get your lawyer to talk to us. So her hands been tied, she's very frustrated, and you know, just like many, many people, they'll say, you won't get it done, you won't get it done. But we really will get it done. And my plan is, there's 15 people on the city council. 9 of them have to move forward with this, okay? So, we're going to start with that idea. We're going to go to the city council next week again. We got an idea of how to do this. And what we're going to do is, I don't have this totally written out, but I'm going to give you my 3 minutes. I think this is a good idea. It's probably a really bad idea. But it goes like this, approximately 3 minutes. You can kind of time it. Brad, do you have that kind of watch? Okay. Tell me when to start.
Go.
Okay. I'm Regina Imbergia. I live at 5423 Goodwin in Dallas. This is the second time I'm coming to address the issue of halting the addition of fluoride in the water supply. I have given you all a copy of my first 3 minutes before the City Council on December 11th. I have also given you a copy of the 3 minutes of my 3 minutes today, along with the messages from the other 4 concerned citizens here today speaking on the subject. I believe as we bring to your attention our concerns, they'll become your concerns. And our quest to motivate you to get this issue on the ballot for a vote, you will in time encourage and applaud us in our endeavors. For I believe you will see there is no good reason to have fluoride in the water and a plethora of reasons why not. Here today, we will highlight a few of the many health concerns. We will stress the consent issue and the dosing concerns. We will point out the areas that have removed fluoride and the studies related to that removal. And finally, we will get to the bottom line, the costs, starting with the $1 million spent each year for the purchase of fluoride. As I understand the process, the addition of fluoride was approved by a vote of the people back in 1967. To get it halted, it needs to be voted on by the people. Please correct me if I am wrong. Secondly, I understand it would save money and time for all of us if we do not have a special election. We are all about saving money, as I'm sure you are. Yeah, right? Okay. Please give us your attention and check out fluoridealert.com. Dr. Paul Connick spent 14 years and his research is laid out very well on this website. He has the most extensive database of this topic, and he has offered many times to open debate the pro-fluoride element. Okay, how many minutes was that? 2. Okay, I was wondering how far I could go with it. And basically, I'm just going to tell him that the book has 30 pages of references, and I'm not going to eat up, I was noticing them. For one thing, by saying, will you give me your attention, because they do all this kind of stuff, you know? Address the fact, you know, and be strong. The other thing, to really appeal to them, you know? I'm like, we're doing this for you. I mean that, and I can say it with conviction. You know, they can't do what I'm doing, because they're the council. They need somebody to move this forward. They need a facilitator. And we're willing to go that. We're willing to request it, to get it on the ballot. How hard is that? You know, put it to a vote of the people. So, I really mean that, and I think I can project that anyways. And also, it's really important not to go over your 3 minutes. You know, again, I have only gone to the city council once before. You have a clock that's ticking down. And I think it's important to stay under that 3 minutes and not go over. For one thing, you stumble at the end, and it's just not as good. Now, the other thing is I've actually decided who the 4 people are going to be. They're going to talk about these issues. Albert Holman is a former lawyer. He's good at presentation. He's an older, not old, but he's an older guy. And he's going to discuss the health issues, you know, and stick to like 2 of them. You know, 2 of them, which the thyroid importance is broad, and he can talk about that, and also the bone issue, and yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say IQ seems like a far more important
IQ,
issue.
well that's, okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let me tell you what I have, and then I'll tell you why. Okay, then I was going to have Eve, I haven't told her yet, but I think she'll catch the woman, she looks really good all the time, and she, you know, comes in, you know, she presents very well. And that's going to be talking about the consent concerns, which basically here, if you don't know, the medical profession has to get your consent. And they can lose their license if they don't tell you the pro and con about a medicine that they're giving you or advising you even to take. And one of my things that I said in my first 3 minutes was, you're doing what a doctor can't do, you know, to everybody, you know, so.
Without a license.
Without a license. So the deal of it is it is a medication, and it's being given to us for the purpose of fixing our teeth, you know, and is that worth the risk of the other? But also it's a dosing issue, and the fact of the matter is, even though it's 7 parts, they add what? We have a natural 4 parts per million in our water. Okay, so if you want to get that up, reverse osmosis, more power to you. By the way, the water here in Park Cities, the Park Cities municipal water supply, does not add fluoride to the water. And I called them, and the guy was gonna come, but one guy, he teaches Bible study, and the other guy got sick, because we were gonna have somebody from the Park Cities Municipal Water Department to come here. The history on that is, years ago in 1938, they bought water from Dallas, like a lot of places do. They finally built their treatment plant, and they started their own water in the 50s. And in the 70s, it was asked of the people if they wanted fluoride to be put in, and they said no. So it's never had, I mean, it was never an addition in their water. So enjoy, bring your bottle next time and fill it up, and bring some good water home with you, right? You don't have to pay for reverse osmosis. But it's the concerns about dosage, because if they're saying that, you know, the parts per million, but what if somebody drinks an awful lot of water, you know? That changes that, how much is in your body. 50% of the fluoride stays in your body, you know, and you expel the rest. So that can accumulate, and for babies and old people, that is very difficult, you know. So how can they be doing that? So that'll be Eve's, and we'll work up a very, no ad lib, we'll kind of read it, and, you know, like you said, it's really nice if somebody says something ad lib, and if you go over it enough, you kind of can, but it's better to stick to the script, you know, and in my opinion, especially on something like this.
Can I make a suggestion for the dosage thing? Bring in a 16-ounce bottle of water and say, if you drink this, it's the same amount of fluoride and the amount you're supposed to use when you brush your teeth. On the toothpaste label, it says if you swallow the amount you're supposed to use to brush your teeth, call poison control.
Texting that information.
And I was going to, and I didn't do it, but what they suggest you to use is a pea size, and I was gonna bring a pea, you know, like a bead or something, the size of a pea. Never, and even in the commercials, they have that Dairy Queen swirl, you know, how much you put on a toothbrush, and so, already, it's exorbitant amounts. Okay, so anyways, this other gentleman, Clark Sandlin, he's the CEO, and he's one of us and everything. He's going to talk about the places that has been halted, and there's been countries. America, we use more fluoride than all the other countries, you know? I mean, it's incredible. Finland got it out. I mean, a lot of these places had it, and they took it out. And then the report on how are the statistics after it's come out, et cetera.
Israel got it out.
Excuse me?
Israel,
this year, 2014, they had voted to have it out. In our own United States, Portland has been fighting because they keep wanting to put it in there, and they have some of the cleanest water, but they did succeed again just recently. And in College Station, I had this in my first one, population of 100,000 people, they're saving $40,000. In College Station, Texas, they got it out. So, yeah, way to go, right? So, and then John Parks, the costs, you know, like $1 million, and also the cost through, you know, other things, Parkland, or just other things, the cost of financial costs. So that's the plan to start it rolling. I don't think that day they're going to say, okay, let's do this, you know, but it's chip away. On the back of this thing where it talks about fluoride and the amounts, I have on here that we're going to be going on January 28th. We're going to be there from, okay, this is the deal how the city council works too. I don't know how many of you have done this, and I'm sorry if you all know about this and I'm boring you. But the way the city council works is they meet every Tuesday, unless it's a 5-week month, and then they have one off, okay? They're on the 6th floor, and if you go with the morning session, the last time we didn't know. We knew you could do morning or afternoon, so I said to the people, what time can people come more? And everybody picked afternoon. Well, we wasted 4.5 friggin' hours because you have to wait until the whole agenda gets done, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and then it's like 4:30, and then we were up. And plus, the auditorium is empty, so, you know, you're not even getting that. But these are recorded, and they're also aired on, do you know which radio station?
WRR.
WRR.
The classical station.
Okay, so it'll get out there. Okay. So if at 9 o'clock to 9:30, so if anyone wants to get there 8:45 to 9:30, at least we know we have a definite time that we're going to be doing this. In the afternoon, it was hard to say to people to come because it's all afternoon. You don't know. When you get on the speaking deal here for the morning, they'll give you 5 people to talk about a subject. and ours is fluoride, right? So, we'll be together. Okay, so if anyone wants to come, would be great. It's $1.50 parking in the back, and it's real easy, really, coming in the back. The other thing is to put some pressure, find out who your council person is, and you can do that by, put in your address, who's my council person? It'll come up like that, or you go to the Dallas, where I put it in, elections department there, it's on there. The deal of it is if you can send them a letter, oh, I heard about this, what are you doing about this? Just letting them know that there's more people that are interested. And if anyone does come, okay, and I'm going to address what you said, I just kind of rolled in different directions because I was thinking, you can't carry a sign, but you can wear a button or something like that. So I was kind of thinking, although my printer wasn't working very good, and if someone wants to help with this, to just make something simple like that and laminate it and put like Velcro or something, just to have more notice, of people that are together, working on it together. But then it would be kind of fun to have a logo, maybe a different logo, like a water drop, and then no fluoride Dallas or something, because the way the teardrop or whatever that is, no, and then fluoride is fat, and then activist for truth. Just an idea, if somebody wants to take it up and work on it, maybe. Okay, I don't know. Or sometimes, because guys, when I work on it and I get it done, my rule is, okay, it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. Just like these handout things, I know someone could do it glossy, bigger, whatever. Do it. Please do it. I'm not kidding. But if you're not going to do it, I'll do it, and it might come out a little bit like that. So, and if you're embarrassed, don't do it. Don't put it on or whatever, but it'll be done somehow.
I'll do it.
Will you?
I need more information.
Sure. That's awesome.
I'll just email.
Okay. Okay. Now the other thing is nobody really reads the Dallas Morning News. That's commonly well known, and some people put way too much money into advertising in the newspaper. But these people, do. The elected people do read the letters to the editor, and I think that it wouldn't hurt if we start writing some letters to the editor, and even open-ended questions of, what about this? Getting people to be noticing it. There's the format of how to do it. Now, I'm going to go back and address what Jerry said about the dumbing down process or the IQ issue, which is true. It's not that I don't believe it. I know it's true. Even Harvard has a study. But I do not believe we should at all lead with that, and totally not lead with the Hitler thing and making people more passive. Not that it's not true, but we're trying to hit them where, and it's strong. We have strong evidence, and we can't do everything anyways. So let's pick the things that are going to be less tinfoil hat, because as I was reading, and that's what they will hit us with. They'll hit us with, we are just internet people that look up what's on the internet, we buy any kooks thing. They're going to say that, and let's not give them that ammunition, because...
Well, the Harvard study is hard to call coup.
Yeah, just to scientifically state that it's a drug implies the dumbing down process.
That's true. But see, then it gets into the fact that it's being held in your pineal gland, and
Sure,
there's so much, you're right.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
That the positioning as a drug is implying that it's dumbing down.
That's what it does, you're right, that's true. And the thyroid issue may hit home a little better because in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, they gave thyroid pills to lower your thyroid level. And right now, we have an explosion of hypothyroidism, And then the case studies are very concise and consistent on the bone issue and cancer in boys. It's very concrete. The IQ issue, I love it, and we're going to use it. This is an onion, This is an onion, and we'll move as far as we have to when we have to.
Regina, the reason I was suggesting the IQ issue is it affects children, and I'm sure every one of those people has grandchildren.
That's true.
There you go.
Okay, this is...
That was, but if you want to do that one and then come back to it later, that's fine.
No.
I'm building on it.
As long as we stick, and plus, I'm gonna review and make sure that the 3 minutes don't go out of the topic. But if we stick with IQ and not lethargy or this kind of thing, if we stick literally with the IQ points, because it bridges so close to where people go with the Hitler and that's what they're, like I say, I do know that there's a mass thing of dumbing us down for a reason.
But that's not the point of it. The point of it too is you can always go back and say, look, you're making the children have lower IQs. You can improve the school system at the same time
Right.
by getting rid of this.
That's true.
And you- I mean,
There's
you
a
make a flippant
financial
argument like
connection.
that.
There's a financial connection. That is true. Okay, do you all, what's the vote on this? Should
We can put it in terms of, you know how many stupid people there are out there, teachers?
There you go.
Don't let me build the world really.
I understand what you're saying.
Just do them all. You go repeatedly and you keep bringing up new ones every time.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. My intention, go ahead, yes. Oh, John had his hand raised first. John?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Another is the low testosterone. You're gonna see billboards along 75 talking about low testosterone and what you can do for low testosterone, or it affects testosterone levels.
Yeah, that's one of the things, yeah, I know. That's that. And the testosterone could link in with the bone, because that is how it's linked in, is through the bone. So, that is how we were gonna do the testosterone one. Yes, ma'am?
I just, coming from the, I grew up in Connecticut. I have a family of genius alcoholics. I mean, they just went to Mount Holyoke, Dartmouth, Yale. My brother went to Yale. Okay? They are so consumed with IQ. So I kind of like the fact of not bringing it up, because they think that's the most important, liberals think that's the most important thing, just how smart you are. So I kind of like the idea of not getting into that, because then it brings up issues. You know, you can have 120 IQ, you can have 100 IQ, but if you're evil, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay. And the only other thing too is I think it's just a little harder, even though the Harvard study is there, which is good. If we're going to say it, we're going to use the Harvard study, you know. I don't know. Okay.
Regina,
I'm sorry, it was very close. He hasn't said much.
just to try to cap this for everybody, do what you're passionate about. You can cover it, you can do it. You'll do great.
He's a cheerleader for me. I do, whenever we have a big event, I'm like, sit in the front, because he'll clap, and you need that, you know, as
You
we
need to
do
be
our
able to be
thing.
true to yourself, you know,
Yeah,
that's where your
yeah,
power is
that's
at. So whatever you feel
true.
comfortable with,
Okay,
whatever your
what we can really
convictions are.
sell, that's good, thank you both of you. And yes, sir?
If the decision is made by individuals that they don't want to talk about the intelligence issue, then just put it in terms that this is actually a neurotoxin.
Good.
And what it's going to be
That's
doing.
good, he
That's
mentioned
right.
it
What it's
once
going to be
on there,
doing.
that's what you're saying.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, I try to keep the meetings pretty close to time. Let's see, what else? We will proceed with letting you guys know about this. Be thinking, on those cards, it has my phone number, so if anyone wants to say they're coming would be good, or if you tell someone else, or any other things. Does anybody else have another announcement? Do you have anything coming up that we can come outreach on you, or what do you have going on? Something big, anything? Regular meeting? Just regular meetings, okay? And, oh, one more important thing, sorry, I actually have, another handout. Our speaker next time is gonna be Kurt Lanius, and, he is actually going to the COSPA. It's the Sheriff Mack's event. Sheriff Mack is a sheriff from Arizona, and he fought the federal government and won on the Second Amendment issue. And so that, I have it all written out here, guys, about how that goes. So, hold on one second. It's worth it a second if I do a better job telling you the story. But Kurt Lanius is going to his Sheriff Mack's event, and he's going to be bringing us back some new information. There we go. Okay. Okay, Sheriff Mack's lawsuit now being used to stop Obamacare. It's basically talking about states have a right to not comply with a federal unconstitutional mandate, or whatever you want to call it, right? And so because it's been, he has that, and you can go back to it, it's been used in other places, and they're really going to push it on the Obamacare thing, so he'll come and give some information about that. And that's Kurt Lanius. He's a former military guy. He's a policeman, former policeman, and he ran against what's her name? Lupe Valdez as the sheriff. And that position is really, really important, and because the sheriff can stop unconstitutional laws or warrants or anything like that. So theoretically,
We're
they
gonna
do
need
it.
somebody strong in there.
Yeah.
Remember, it was the sheriff's department that roughed up Alex Jones and the protesters during JFK.
That's true, that's true. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
We are not being vigilant enough on who we're getting into all these positions.
Is he from Dallas County?
Yes, Dallas County. Okay, one more thing. There is a process that moves forward with the fluoride issue of getting it on the ballot. And the deal of it is, it's a special election, costs a lot of time and money, but we are having an election in March. So March 4th, it could be put on that ballot. So then it's going to be educating the public to vote for it. So that's, right, what were we going to say?
I think it would be too late.
Yeah, I think it's probably too late.
Probably too late right now? Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Furthermore, if you want that to pass,
Yes.
to defeat it, you have to
Educate people.
educate the entire county on fluoride. And that's going to be a very costly and big event.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
that's
the grassroots people get it out there on Facebook and everything else, and all they have to do is see a couple of the issues of money and everything else, and
Every
a
dentist they
slogan.
go to will tell them that that's ridiculous. And so you've got to
Right.
do it
But
absolutely.
surprisingly, in Dallas, there are some no fluoride dentists, and one of them was gonna come here.
Right, that's
One, you're right.
Right. And other than that, there's several thousands.
Yeah, but,
We have to have some kind of hope, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, but it's going to take a large marketing event to make that happen. You want to
Well, we
win
have
that.
to have some kind of hope, and we gotta chip
You
somewhere.
never know. I'm a Pollyanna. I always have been, you know, and you never know. There's the weirdest things that happen, the strangest things that happen, and I have to go with that. Look at, they've actually seen Libya going from, and now look at this, they're taking over the tanks, 250 tanks, you know, from desert people that hide in the sand, you know, I mean, this is like pretty incredible. And also the, wait, one more thing. Oh,
Not
yeah.
disagreeing, just.
If we were to get petitions, you actually can get them from Collin County, Denton County, and Dallas County, so we have a broad area. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. Yes, sir?
I had an announcement, you guys were talking earlier
Okay.
about the county judges, and you brought up John Wiley Price in particular. Ron Matinsky is running for the chair for Dallas County as a judge, so just to give him a look, he's a Republican, you might want to look over his info. I don't know how many of you live specifically in this district, but Linda Coop is running for Texas House as a Republican also. I think it's the second. She's running against Stephanie Carter, who's a Republican, who was running for Railroad Commissioner. And then there's the war veteran, Sam Brown, great guy, great testimony. A real interesting race in the Texas House right now. But her replacement is Lee Kleinman. So if you are up in that area, look him up on Facebook about your fluoride activity and maybe see if you can bend his ear a little bit. Linda vacated the seat after 8 years on Dallas City Council. Lee has now taken her place.
Okay, and we gotta remember Don Huffines is running against John Corona, and he actually does have an event that you can go to. And Rand Paul is gonna be there endorsing him.
You said Don Huffines?
Don Huffines,
I went to
Huffines.
high school.
You did really?
Played football.
Really? He's like 50 years old.
The guy everybody does
I would not have thought that.
know is Tony Kinderholt.
What
He's
about
running for state Congress, do not vote for him, he's an absolute shield. And he tried to take the microphone away from us in party in Arlington because we were saying bad things about the intelligence agencies.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
actually
What's his name?
Intelligence agencies. Look at that.
Okay, so the Don Huffines, and the Don Huffines event is on February 7th, and you go to his website, it's free, and you get dinner for the first 500 people are free or something like that, and it's at the Frontier of Flight Museum at the Love Field Airport. So, and Rand Paul will be there. So, and I always look at that as an outreach. It's an opportunity. If you want to bring something to a senator, you got to go where they're at, because if you try to get through the gatekeepers, you don't. So my trick is always, if you find out there's a congressman or a senator, a seating one, you go bend their ear when you have an opportunity. Thank you for everybody coming. Did you have something? No. Good? Maybe we'll talk. I know that 2 people had questions.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below. Better yet, like us, follow us, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it even when you call. When visiting LeMannon's restaurant on Mockingbird, tell them you want your reservation to the next activist meeting. Space is limited, so make your reservations early. Call 214-696-0800.